Hello, we are live. My name is Kara Brown. I am an urban fantasy author. I also write under the name of Faye Black, and we are going to be here to do writing sprints because it's still Camp NaNoWriMo. Some folks are trying to get projects done, and I thought during the stream we could kind of focus our discussions on editors, finding editors, working with editors. Tamara and I talking about our experience with editors. And since I said Tamara's name, I should let you introduce yourself because that would be like the professional and good host thing to do. So.
Something like that.
Maybe.
Hello, my name is Tamara Woods. I'm a cozy mystery author and I write some spicy things on the side. And today I'm going to be working on those spicy things.
Spicy things. So I will be working on trying to outline because my brain is too fried from this week to actually utilize it the way I would like to, which is creatively. I'm really tired. So that's where I am, which is kind of weird because last week I wrote like an entire book in a week and I felt super energized and like pumped full of like, whatever dopamines come with that sensation. And this week it's just been kind of like, I want to die. Like,
Maybe you're just tired.
Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I need a nap. Maybe I need like some lunch. Like, I just don't know. But yeah, so that's us. That's what we're going to do. That's going to be our topic for today. I will take a moment to say hello to some folks that popped in. Mama Ward is here. Hello, Mama Ward. Thank you for joining us today. RC is here and said great timing, and he graced us with a cha-ching-ching ba-dum-ching joke.
Yikes.
Persephone is here. Hello, Persephone. Is eating lunch. I should also have eaten lunch before I started doing this, but I didn't. So you guys can watch me slowly wither away for 2 hours because that's how long we'll be here.
Oh no.
Man, withering. Hello, Athena. Thank you for joining us today. Adega Outlaw is here. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope today is treating you well. Professional. I make the attempt. I try real hard. Persephone is looking forward to your spicy goodness. I'm sure everybody is.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, okay. I'm not allowed to die. It has been decreed. Very well. Jeannie is here. Hello, Jeannie. It's so good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Caro, can you take a nap for me? Starts this afternoon. I will try. And you're talking about the Author 2 writing conference that is starting, I think, an hour after I get off or right after I stop. So, and I think that's on SD Hudson's. It's starting on her channel. If it's not, please correct me. I think I've got enough moderators to put a link in there. So if you guys want to go ahead and hook that up, please do. Let's talk robots. We could talk about robots, but we're going to talk about editors because that's what I said that we're talking about. I also noticed that when I put the poll up, because I did put the poll about what today's discussion was, is that I was a little premature with it because I looked at it and several people said finding an editor, and then I went back and looked at it right before we went live, and it said finishing books. So if you clicked on finishing books, I will talk about that next week, which means that I will stream next week. So I have made that commitment. I will do it again. So I'm gonna try real hard to do it again. I am not allowed to wither either, so no dying, no withering. Okay, fine. I'll grab a snack at some point. Cool Gamer is here. Hello, it is good to see you. I was wondering why you were talking so low, and then I realized I had to turn up the volume. Oh, okay. See, RC says, working on Wolf Hunt, 12 pages into the script for issue 1. Very good. Very happy to hear that. King Red Spy Red X is here. Jacob. Hello, Jacob. Thank you for coming and joining us today. I always appreciate your glorious presence with us. So normally I would just launch us straight into working and writing sprints, but because I know editing and editors are kind of near and dear to our heart, Tamara, I thought we could start with us talking about an experience that we had with an editor, good or bad, whichever one you want to share for folks.
I'll start with a good one. So the last person who edited one of my cozy mysteries, I was really at a loss to who would be able to edit, because the person I had editing before for me is kind of like not editing things at this time. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I went on like a blind hunt because I was hoping to find an editor who was one, affordable for me. And, affordable is different for everyone, but that was like a big thing for me. And then second was pretty familiar with cozies, because it is a niche, and I didn't want to have someone editing it who didn't really know like the beats that I need, and etc. Just to know what I'm missing if there was anything. Um, so I'm in quite a few cozy author groups. So I just started like dropping, please help me everywhere, just everywhere. I was like, I just blasted all the places, and I had like 10 bites, which was awesome. And I started combing through, and I was like, okay, you're too expensive. Right. And then with the people who were left, I sent them samples, and I picked the person who was the most enthusiastic and interested in my story. And it ended up being an excellent partnership. And I think that it's really important that when you pick an editor, make sure that they like what you're doing, like sincerely. And because I mean, everyone's like, I need to make some money, this, that, and the other. But if they're just in it for the cash, or if you're reading through their comments about your story, and if you're wondering, do they actually like what I do, then that's not the person for you.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing. So I guess since you started off with a positive, I'll go with a negative. Let's see. So you talked about having to find somebody who's kind of like in line with what you're doing, knew your genre, and was like enthusiastic. So not my first editor, because she was cool. Like, she wrote in my genre and she edited it, and she was great. She told me what beats I was missing. My second editor was my nightmare situation. Like, the one thing that we hope to never go through, like, that was what I went through. And it was getting to the point where she, this was actually with the very first publisher that I had been with. And like, one time she sent me an email and said that if I just didn't accept the changes that she wanted me to, it was going to hold up the entire publishing process. And I was kind of like, it's like, it's still my book, right? And in some cases I had to point out where she was wrong about the things that she wanted me to change. So for one example, Queen Titania, Shakespeare, she said I had to change Queen Titania's name because it started with tit. That was a legit, I still have that file where she wrote that comment in there. And so when I messaged her, I was like, I just had a question about this comment. She's like, yeah, you just need to change it. And I was like, so last time I checked, you're in a master's program for literature. Have you gone and read like any Shakespeare at all? It was just one of those moments.
Ugh.
And then another time, she told me that I wasn't allowed to call, like, in British folklore, there's like a type of fairy and it's called a brownie, right? And she said, you can't call these brownies because this is a derogatory term. And I was like, where is like the citation for this? And she's like, well, I read it in a Tumblr post. And I was like, okay, so can you explain to me why Girl Scouts of America call one of their ranks brownies if it's a derogatory term? She's like, well, I'll have to look into that. And I was like, you probably like just always like discrediting herself, like along, like just the entire way. So
maybe she should have looked into it before she's like, do this thing.
I think she just got a little power hungry, in my honest, in the hindsight that I have right now. I think she was just starting with this group. She was feeling really good. And for some reason, it was just kind of like, well, if you don't do what I tell you to, then you don't get to be published. And I was like, well, actually, no, that's not how that works at all. But, thank you for that perspective. So,
ew.
Yeah, so, but obviously I didn't stick with that publisher. that was, you and I met right after that. I remember that was like that big dumpster fire. And then I started courting you, being like, hey, you want to be my friend? And you were like, who are you?
I was like, you want to be my friend? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah. And here we are. Is it like our 2-year anniversary this year? We met in 2019. Maybe it's 3.
I'd say 3.
Wow, we've been friends. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're stressed the fuck out and writing books.
and moving across country, and like we both went through cross country moves during this friendship.
I know, and it was like we did it at the same time. I even messaged you, and I was like I love you and sharing experiences, but this one can go to shit. Like I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I was like, agreed. This sucks. Let's not do this again.
Oh, Wendy. Hello, Wendy. Thanks for joining us. She got a big ego, and then she met Kara.
Smack. Kara put the smack down.
I mean, I try to be nice. I try. I do. And then I just get angry. And on that lovely note, I guess now we can do our first sprint and actually get something done. So normally I do 20 minutes, but because I am so mentally exhausted, I'm just going to do 15, and we'll just kind of come back and do those as often as we need to. So, and I have my own timer up because I'm tired of getting dinged for copyright. I made this. Ta-da!
Ooh.
It's very bland.
So spicy.
Yeah, it's got no sound, no nothing. Look, it's got my name on it, yo. I made that. I'm gonna put it on the fridge. All right, but we are actually gonna go ahead and sprint for about 15 minutes. You can read, write, take a nap, do whatever you gotta do for those 15. They are all you. So I will start this timer in 3, 2, 1, and see you guys in 15. scared myself a little bit because I forgot that I had put sound on it. Yeah, I scared myself, yo. All right, well, how'd you do? What'd you do? And all that goodness. Would you like to share, Tamara?
I sent out a newsletter, and I wrote how many words? Let's see. I wrote 268 words on this Medium post. So with the next sprint, I'll finish it and then move on from there.
Nice. I wrote 3 sticky notes. I feel accomplished.
Ooh.
Well, 3.5. I almost finished this one. All I have to do is write these things in long format. It'll be great. Everything's fine. Hooray. But how about you guys in the comments? How'd you guys do? Oh, I guess I had the sound on. You all could hear my jingly jangly too. Cool. That moment. Good transition. We love good transitions. Nice guitar. Thanks. Nice sound, not jarring halfway through fixing a story hiccup. Oh, good. That's always good. I wonder if I can say good like 3 more times. I probably can.
Probably.
Yeah. Persephone says she got 315 words. Very nice. Are they big sticky notes? Caro hand for size? Not really. I have tiny hands. Is there something like legit that is universal in this room? I have a lighter. All right, here you go. Lighter for size. There you go. Not very big. Just enough to have me write down some Caro ramblings and move on. Hello, Sky. Sky got 745 words. Hot damn. Well done. And you finished your 7K challenge last weekend, I believe. Yes. I remember you said it, and I was super proud about it, and then I think I fell asleep because I was very tired. Story Master says I ate food so that I would not slay something from being too hangry. I should have done that, but I didn't because I was not smart.
Now you have to slay the words.
Slay words. I like that. All the ramblings are good ramblings. Broken Entertainment is here. Hello, Broken Entertainment. Thank you for coming and joining us today. So we should probably go back for a little bit about our discussion with editors. So I shared a negative and you shared a positive. So I can share a positive and you can share a negative, and maybe we can take some questions from the comment section if they want to know something about editors, either how to find them, working with them, the logistics, whatever, because that's what we're here to talk about today. So I will start with my positive. So my positive is I actually recently found a really good romance erotica editor, and it was really hard for me to do because for a little while it kind of felt like they were reading it without not wanting to comment on it, and I'm not I really didn't come for head pats when I look for editors. I need you to tear my shit up, right? That's what I'm paying you to do. And so I found one, and she's really nice, and she gets really into it. She talks about beats and also points out where there could be maybe a problem with it, but also points out is your character so that they're normally an asshole, then keep it, but just FYI. And I think what I really like about her is she's got Chicago Manual style citations in there whenever she wants to make a punctuation change, right? She'll cite it and say what page and the edition that she has in there, and I'm kind of
wow.
Oh my God. I'm wow, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I love that shit. That's very me. So I guess it's just that attention to detail, and like I said before, when I was kind of shopping for somebody to help me with this stuff, I got the kind of oh yeah, it's a nice story, and I like the steamy stuff. I was that's not what I need. I really need you to destroy this.
Right.
So that was good.
Well, I made a whole ass video about my worst experience, so I put that in the comments. I made that like a couple years ago, but for brevity's sake, the worst thing, well, one of the worst things about this editor was the ghosting.
Oh yeah.
Where he like, I mean, because he was an absolute dick. So I mean that was bad. But also, I was waiting for him for a very long time, and he once I was finally like, hey, either you have to either do the edits or give back the money. Like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
He had continually had excuses, right? So it was like, so there was a hurricane that happened in his area. That was like, oh man, that sucks. And then there was another thing, and then there was another thing, and then I'm looking at his like Facebook page, his personal Facebook, and he's like, hey everybody, how things going? Everything's cool. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like, clearly you're having a fine time and you're just blowing me off. So from that, my advice would be have in your contract how long you want this process to take. Like, don't allow the editor to just be sitting on your manuscript for months. As much as they have the business, you do too, and that's unfair to you.
Yeah, there was one editor I had earlier this year, and at one point it was kind of like, I'm trying to be nice because I know you also just did a cross-country move, but I need my shit. So
that one I ended up breaking ties with.
Yeah, that kind of sucks because they were really good, and like, so like if I find good talent, like I usually will share it with everybody and be like, go use this is a good thing. But I guess like they weren't ready for that. Like Amy's subject to it like all the time. Like anytime somebody's like, I need a website or SEO consulting, I just immediately like throw Amy at them, and I give her like a 5-minute warning before I introduce them in a group chat, right? Like that's at least the bare minimum for me. But yeah, so it was just So I feel bad because it was initially good, and then they just kind of did it off. I guess that's a nice way to say it.
Yeah.
That is a lot of wrenches. It is. These are people that return back to my streams very often. And about 2 years ago, when I would host these streams, I would have about 100 people. And some of them were bots, some of them were capital D's, whatever you want to call them. And I just, and the comment section would just tackle them a little faster than I did. So I gave them wrenches to beat them with, and it worked out fine. It's great. Now all my friends are wrenches, and it's a good time for all. Let's see. Oh, Sky remembers your video, and she said she'll have to rewatch it. I watched it one time, and I got really angry, so I don't think I should watch it again. And not angry at you, just at the situation. So
I will never watch that again. Ever.
Let's see. Persephone. Yes, I've been ghosted by an editor too. Next to taking a giant crap on your work, being ghosted by your editor is the worst. Yeah, it is, and I think that's kind of why I've gone to places like don't cringe at me too hard, but I have gone to Fiverr to find editors, because if they don't give me either the quality that they promise, like in the description, or they don't do the work, Fiverr will at least give me my money back, right? And I don't have to hound them like through PayPal or whatever. So There's that. So. Let's see. I'm still relatively new, so I don't have much experience with editors. One was good, another one wasn't. Another ghosted me, and the rest wants a king's ransom. I guess that depends, like, on their experience and what they've done as well. I guess we could talk about costs a little bit too, if you want to do that chit chat, Tamara.
I guess
a little bit, because. Okay, so here's one thing you and I can discuss that I think we didn't have a debate on, but you and I definitely were kind of like, is that how you do it? Because that's not how I was told you to do it. It's so usually when you have an editor and you're kind of like testing them out, you do what's called sample pages, right? And and so that sample pages can be anywhere between like 2 and 10. It really depends on the editor and what they're willing to do. And most feel really comfortable within 5 pages of knowing if you guys are going to be a good fit or not, right? And when I first got into this, sample pages were just free, right? The editor would do it, send it back, and then you would pay them like whatever their word rate was after that. And then I kind of saw like a trend. It started with one person, then it kind of like spread out after that, where they would charge you for sample pages. And I tried to be really nice when I asked the question because I didn't understand. But I was like, why are you doing that? Because that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, well, my time is worth money. I was like, okay, I understand. But like for like a very long time, it's been like this, right? And so the only time one person was able to justify it to me was, I still have to pay rent, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, I get that. And then they also added on, it's like, but if you end up signing on with me, I take that out of the total, right? Like I haven't really heard of a lot of folks doing that, but I also don't work with a lot of folks who do that either. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to deal with anyone who wants to charge me for the sample pages. Just because I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me. Like if they want to add that to the final, okay, but it shouldn't be. It's not like a huge in-depth edit,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to be a lot of pages. So I don't really get it.
I don't know. But I'm also taking like blind leaps of faith on Fiverr right now. So it's like I don't even know what I'm getting until I get it. I think I went through 2 editors before I found this one, but those editors, I don't want to say like they were cheap because if I say cheap, somebody's going to think $5. But I thought it was, like they had a flat fee. And some editors do that. Some editors will say like, well, for a story of this amount, or less, I charge, $75. That was actually how an editor that you and I were working with for a little while was charging when we would do short stories. She's like 75, 10,000 or less. And I was like, that's fair. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then after that, it was per word, whatever was over that. So, and I think for her fee was like, I think her thing was like 3 cents a word after the flat fee. So that sounds about right to me. I miss her. I do. She was a good editor.
Uh, yeah. Let me see. It's like I just try to find someone who's affordable for me and within my budget, and my budget is minuscule. So I have found editors through word of mouth. I've also found editors through different author groups that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's also like uh, there's a few different like national editor organizations that you could look at, but those people tend to be out of my price range.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, where's another good place? There's the Independent Author Guild. I think that they have like an editor section there. If you're involved in any genre specific writing groups, whether it's like on Facebook or Discord or like an international, like a national thing that you actually physically go to meetings, like those still exist. Um, a lot of times you can find assistance with finding an editor through there.
Yeah, and there's also Readsy. If you want to go through that, Readsy has a whole bunch of industry professionals that are listed on there, and they've got like a whole resume of like different projects that they've worked on as well. So that's another source that you can check. I think a lot of us find our editors through networking though. Like it's like when I needed an editor really bad at one point, like the first thing I did was run to Tamara and I'd be like, I need an editor. Like I don't care who or where they are. I just really need one that knows grammar better than me. And then that was the lady that you and I used for a year. And then like her life changed and we lost her. And now I don't have her.
That sucks. That
Sniffles.
sucks real bad. It was like, oh, okay, well, it's time to look for something else.
This is a mood when your editor makes more per word than you are. Yep. That's a strong mood though, because it's like your editor, like your editor doesn't get credit on your work, right? and they don't really take like royalties for your work either. It's just like, so it really is kind of like ghostwriting in the sense where it's like they do the work and then they move on after that, and you're just kind of left on your own. So maybe you can ask them to like promote it or anything like that, but it depends. I only had one editor that actually cited me as one of her bodies of work that she worked on, and that was it. The rest of them just kind of didn't bother. So
Yeah.
Which doesn't do me any favors. Maybe that should be another criteria. Like, cite me as a book that you edited. Let's see. So to me, a sample edit is like an interview. Do our voices match? Do we understand each other? Do you actually read and understand the genre? And yeah, so absolutely, that was really good.
I agree.
Oh, this is a good question. So what does it take to be a good editor aside from timeliness? Well, understanding grammar, that's really important. Like, you have to know it better than me. And I'm really at the bar, like under the bar probably. Understanding like the genre trends. I would say having a strong understanding of like different tropes that appear in books as well. That's really important.
Understanding the type of editing that the person needs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go on.
When I was initially like the first book I had edited, I went through a couple different editors, and the first one I needed a developmental editor, but that person was more into line editing, which is like just straight up grammar. And developmental editing is like plot holes and helping you to fix your story rather than just like the readability of the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, looking at character development. Does the story make sense? Like, is the pacing understandable? Like, transitions are really important too, because I've read a couple of books where like the transitions were so jarring I didn't know what was going on. So like helping that. And then proofreading editing is usually kind of like clarity of the words, like does it make sense, syntax, all the other stuff. And then your proofreader editor is really like the last person who reads it, and I guess you could say if they're an editor or not, but they definitely find like all the missing things, like where there might be like a double period at the end of a sentence or something that you forgot.
Where you might have used the wrong homonym, things like that.
Yeah.
So so the editor needs to know like what they need to understand, what kind of editor you need. And if they don't, then they need to clarify it with you, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, yeah, I can do that. Maybe this isn't the right job for you if you haven't clarified what I actually need.
Yeah. You could, and some do. I know Sky does, and in my book, Queen of Swords and Silence, I do have the editor credited on there, but I don't know how many people I've actually seen do that either, so... Granted, I am the kind of person who will go if there's a really bad book, and I'm not going to say the name of the book because I don't need that fan base to come after me. But she put that editor in that book, and I made a mental note to never contact that person because that book was bad. It was so bad.
If the editor is someone who has like a professional setup, and they're trying to actively get other people, then I'll have their information there. If not, then it's more of a thanks, Jody, for helping me with this, as opposed to being specific. She's grabbing references, y'all. You know how the Carol loves her references. Hey, Aphrodite, how are you doing?
Sorry, I saw the one comment from Venom about being able to do all the things. And I believe that you can. If you had to have some things in your arsenal for like moments like when you're working with like authors or writers or anything like that, these two books, I'm going to make myself big, not because I don't love you, and I'm sorry. So
wait, before you do that, what comment are you talking about?
The one I have on the screen right now that says I can do all of this.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the first book that I would recommend is the Copy Editor Handbook. It's like one of the Bibles for like, remote or self-employed editing if you're interested in that. And it's a really good book. I've read it a couple times, and the nice thing about it is that it's actually got exercises for you to practice in. So they tell you how to do it, and then they give you like an area, and you kind of figure it out after that. The other book that is really good to do, and this is the third edition. I don't know if they come out with another one, but it's Woe Is I. And that also talks a little bit more about grammar and all that good stuff. And these are, if you could only have if you can't get the Chicago Manual style, these are the two books I would tell you to get, because I know everybody kind of hers and haws on getting this one. But this is the book, and this is the book for America. I should probably say that. Because if you're going to publish in America, certain editorials and certain magazines and all that other stuff are going to have a particular submission style. And so the Chicago Manual style is usually going to be the one that everybody is going to look at. And they actually have 30 pages about how to use a comma appropriately in this book.
Freaking commas.
Yeah, but these are the 3 books I would recommend if you want to go into editing yourself. If only because it's always good to have those references, because there is like the author style of writing. Like I knew one lady, then when she wanted to write about shouting in her book, she would do it in all caps and italics. This would tell you to not do that, but she was like, it's my author style, it's how I want to express myself. And usually when they throw you that line, you're like, okay, cool, whatever makes you happy, bye, right? But if you have those, it kind of helps you explain it a little bit more, which is also partly why I really like that lady on Fiverr, because she always cites the page. She's got the 18th edition, but to be honest, you don't need the current edition, because all they do is change like the acknowledgement and the foreword, and then the rest of it's the same. So you can get the 17th or the 16th and be fine. And those are normally on discount. Or if you're really poor, you can go and look at it in the library.
But as soon as you have the cash, you should pick up your own copy, because you're going to need it.
Yeah. So, I got mine just because I think I've done that to you a few times when you asked me to read some of your stuff before you publish it. I was kind of like, I don't want to do this to you, but in the Chicago Manual style, this is bad. So, there you go. Let's see. Those are some books. Yep, they are. Do it up. Do it. Find some friends that might need some services and take a look at it and see how it goes. Just don't come out with I read a lot so I can edit, because most experienced authors are going to look at you kind of funny and inch away. We don't. That's a red flag line to us. Grabbing the phone books. It's true. Let's see. I love Chicago. Forgive me if I don't put your comment up. I am just scrolling through these so far. Doesn't the Chicago Manual style currently have an online version? They do. It's a little sparse from what I saw. They kind of have the essentials on there. I tried to use it for my own stuff, but it just doesn't have everything. So but I haven't actually looked at it in 2 years either. So my information on that is a little dated. So it's probably something I can go check in on later. So there you go. Let's see. People sleep on the library. They do. Oh my goodness. I could have so many stories about when I worked in the cafe of a library and the people that would be sleeping all over the place. One guy literally just fell asleep on our couch, and I was like, "Are you gonna be okay?"
I don't think that's what they meant.
I was talking about homeless. That's what I was talking about.
I think that they mean that people forget the library exists.
Oh, that makes more sense. Then okay. This is why you're here, to help me broaden my understanding of phrases. Appreciate that. If anybody's interested, I wrote a whole blog article about why the publishing industry hates the library. So if you want to hear my hot take on that subject, it is on my Substack. So, and I don't have a link to it right now. I'll find it later. Let's see. And okay, so that was a wonderful discussion. I think we should probably do another 15 minutes so we can get more stuff done, if we are all good for that.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Let me revert this back to the start. All right. So put that up. Wait, let's do this. I love this. Look at it. Oh, I'm bougie. So, all right. So I'll go ahead and start this timer, and we will reconvene in 15 minutes. You can do whatever you want in these 15 minutes. You can read, stare off into space, write, contemplate life, maybe decide to become an editor, whatever you want to do. These are your 15 minutes. Do whatever you want with them, and I'll see you at the end. used to that. Nope. All right. So I wrote 2 more sticky notes of things that I need to write for this book later. So that's better than not knowing what I was going to write at all.
I wrote more on this story. I don't know. So many words.
How do you feel about it?
I like it. I'm gonna send it to someone and see what he thinks. To like see if I can make it spicier.
Spicier, she says. Let's take a look. Oh, I know Sky's gonna go right after this. Sky says, if I could pull it up, that she wrote 706 words. Man, you're killing it today. Well done. Let's see. I don't see myself trying to sell myself as an editor with leading with I read a lot. It seems pretentious. Well, it is, and you would be surprised how often we hear that line.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah. But if you want to have a fun experience, if you have a couple of pennies and you go to the thrift store or some kind of used bookstore and you can find the first edition of a book, normally first editions within a year have a second edition that comes out because there's a lot of grammatical corrections that will happen that will cause the book to be re-released. And when you reach like a certain percentage, then they obviously have to re-release the book. So if you want an exercise that's not, generated on the internet, you can go grab a first edition book and find all of the grammatical errors in there, because that's really more of what you would be doing as an editor. So just food for thought. Let's see. Story Master says, I feel like the Duke of Hazards when I hear that jingle. Yeah, just get yourself a hat.
Or a bandana.
Bandana, Daisy Dukes, whatever suits you. Let's see. Mama Warsedge read a chapter and opened a document and bashed a bot on another stream. Good for you. Thank you for keeping them comments clean and good for us. Let's see. Jeannie says, finished a query note to a genre editor. Ooh, exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yep. And then lunch break over. Gotta go do activities. Bye. Bye, Sky. I'm not at play. I just let's see. Also, don't send editors first drafts. Yeah, we say that a lot. We say that very, very frequently, but I never really feel like we get listened to. And I think it's because people get like really excited when they actually write like the end, and they're just ready to like throw it at the editor.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that you do once, and then you're like, oh, okay, never again. This was terrible.
Yeah. Well, there was one guy that I knew, and he was a character. He was a crazy cat, as I like to say. But he wrote a book, and he was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to get published, and it's going to do really well. And I was like, man, if I had a penny for every time I heard that, I wouldn't have to work anymore. But, I said, you might want to get an editor to take a look at it, because, editors, blah, 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 everything that we've talked about editors, right? And they said, sure, and they would consider a recommendation from me. And I was like, sure. So I recommended them my very first editor, because he wrote in that genre, and she's well-versed, like I said. And I found out, so she did 10-page sample page kind of thing. And she stopped after 2 pages because there were so many errors and mistakes that she was like, I have other clients that I have to take care of. And then she told him, because you have so many mistakes in here, I would have to charge you double.
Whoa.
Yeah. And, and he was, and take this how you will, but he was a sensitive boy. And he didn't respond to that. And I literally, I came into, my Discord that day, and it was just blown up from comments from him. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. If it was a shit draft, it was a shit draft. It's like, well, right. I'm going to get my friend to read it. And guess what he said? My friend reads a lot.
Bringing it around.
Yeah.
Bringing it back. Nice.
So, but yeah, don't send them your first draft. It's more work for them and a lot more expensive for you. And the nice thing about being a self-pub on Amazon is that when you fix the errors and re-upload it, the mistakes disappear within 72 hours. Yeah, absolutely. That's always nice. There's a guy on there. I don't remember his first name. He does a lot of online marketing books, and it's Dr. McDonald. Dr. McDonald, SEO, like workbook and stuff like that. And the really nice thing that he does is that if you buy the book once, you don't. All other editions are actually in that book. He'll go and update it every year because obviously SEO and marketing changes. It's not like a static thing, right? It's always fluctuating and changing. And because he does it on Kindle Unlimited, 72 hours goes in and we all have the updated information. So there you go. JC, I feel like I didn't say hello to you. Hello, JC. Thank you for coming and spending time with us today. I have seen books by bestsellers with tons of grammatical and spelling errors. I also have seen that, and it's really bad if I can see it because I'm kind of like grammatically blind. So, but if I take a look at something like that doesn't make sense or the sentence is confusing or things like that, then it always blows my mind. But I guess since we're talking about that a little bit, if we're talking about industry authors. In the publishing house, normally they want you to have that book like completely polished when that you send it in. It's none of that kind of like, well, I tried really hard and here it is. It's like, no, because they're on a time crunch, so they just want to kind of like fix like the surface level stuff and then move on, right? Mm-hmm. And so within a publishing house, they will tell their editors to do an in-depth pass, a medium pass, or a light pass. And so if an editor gets a book and they're said do just a light pass, then they're just going to fix like the glaringly wrong issues and not talk about anything else. And that's why you see so many books that come out with like all those errors. It's just absolutely crazy. And this is why it's important to pay attention in English class. I didn't. I was that person. Hi, that's me. Hi. And I feel better now. Oh, well, there you go. Let's see. I hated the grammar part of English. I just wanted to read books. I also just wanted to read books. I have a 15-step on self-editing process, and I still need an editor. Yeah, I think we all like develop our own thing. Like you have I know you do something creative with your stuff, Tamara. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
I do different things each time. Like right now with the current May script, I've been going back and editing as I go because I wanted to have as polished as possible before I send it off to people to beta it.
Yeah. So. I know my favorite, and I say favorite with air quotes because I fucking hate it whenever I do it. But my favorite thing to do is to put the manuscript in Word and have it read it to me. It's the worst.
I use Natural Reader.
Oh, so that's a little less jarring.
It has like a few different voices, but still, it's not that great.
Yeah.
But it's really helpful to hear it read back to you, even if it is a robotic voice. So I use that, and I use Grammarly, and I use Pro Writing Aid during my self-editing process.
We use all the softwares here. We're like, is that an editing software? We should use that with like our 10 other ones.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Let's see. The roboticness is painful. Yeah, it is. And I actually will listen to it when people send me stuff to beta read. That's how I'll find like things where like that sentence sounds really weird. Like, and then I'll go back and read it out loud. Like, nope, still sounds weird. So I need that something needs to happen there. So, let's see. Speaking of first drafts, my drafts are like years apart, and I can't even write mine without wincing. Oh well. You know, every now and then Tamara and I like to torment ourselves by reading some old writing.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's cringeworthy, but also you're like, hey, I have improved.
I've grown.
Awesome. I'm getting better at this.
Like I'm getting my first book back from the publisher, getting my rights returned. And, you know, Mr. Brown was like, are you going to go and like, you know, develop it now that you're a better writer? Because I even told him I've grown since that book came out. And I was like, nope. Like, I am not going to touch that thing. I'm going to leave it just as it is. because that needs to be that's my baseline right there. But the other reason is because that book is actually attached to an audiobook on Audible, and if I change the manuscript too much and it doesn't sync up with the whisper sync, then my audiobook gets taken down. So I'm kind of like, okay, well, it's gonna have, it has to stay. I can't change it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let's see. I tried to read a book I wrote in high school many, many moons ago and started laughing and put it away. Now, oh man, I don't know if you did this or if anybody else in the comment section did. Please, let me know. But I used to put stuff on fanfiction.net.
I didn't do fan fiction.
I did. I did so much fan fiction. I had so many questions about things that happened in anime that were never answered, so I just made up my own answers, right?
Of course you did.
I was like, I have a question. How did this happen? I think my favorite, I was actually talking to a friend about this, is in Dragon Ball Z, Bulma and Vegeta get together, but you're like, how? How did that happen? I don't understand.
So you were like, I will create my own.
Oh my God, there's so many. There's so many what ifs. And I think looking back on it, that was a really brilliant move of the creator to do, to leave it off scene for us to fill in the blanks with how we wanted it to be. And I was like, God damn it, that's fucking genius, because now all we do is talk about this couple, and that makes more marketing. People keep reading it and they keep theorizing and looking through. One person literally kept going through all the footage to find the clues that led up to that moment.
I was trying to think of I can't remember the name of the one where we never find out what happened to the dude's mom throughout the entirety of the damn show.
It's gonna come to you. It's gonna come to you in the middle of this next sprint that we have going on.
Yeah, when it comes to me, I'll type it in the comments.
Yeah. All right, but speaking of that, we've only done 2 sprints, and I feel bad because I promised you guys more. So let's do another one. So we'll do another 15 minutes and come back, reconvene, and maybe do another one depending on how chatty I get. And that's my last chat on fan fiction. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay.
Oh yeah, what happened to that lady?
I remembered.
Okay. Okay. So I'll start this timer. We'll reconvene in 15 and 3, 2, 1. See you then. I need some sweet tea now. How did you do? What'd you do? And all that goodness. I wrote another sticky note and I took part in a work conversation, which I normally don't do, but I was like, I feel strongly about this topic. I will have input. Type. So.
I had a delivery of snacks.
I want snacks.
There's pickle slices and Colby Jack cheese and Ritz crackers and little salami rounds.
You got like all you need is some wine. You got your charcuterie board going on. Charcuterie, however it's said. Your wine board. Your snacks with wine.
I could use some wine. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I think I might have some on my next cheat day because it's got sugar in it. I'm trying to cut back on that. Let's see. I can't see script writing being any different from writing a book, but that probably shows my ignorance. There is like so script writing kind of really depends on what you're writing the script for. Is it for a comic or is it for a movie? Because like all scenes for scripts for movies happen on one page. Like that's it. Like so it's not like drawn out. Where like scripts for comics, like on the odd page on the final panel, you have to do something that makes that panel like a page turner, so that way the viewer will keep turning the page to read the comic. So there's like little nuances like that that kind of change how scripts are done between the mediums. But again, that's my surface level information, and I really just work with comics. I don't actually do like movie scripts. I actually tried to write a script for a motion comic the other day, and like my boss was kind of like, okay, so we're gonna do this together, and I was like, oh wow, that's a nice way of saying I need help. That's cool. I'm ready.
I wrote a script for like a not safe for work audio. So that's interesting because it's all about one person's voice and them trying to like essentially seduce the listener. So it's all very much them telling the listener what's happening to them. So that was interesting. It was a very different type of storytelling.
Yeah, there was. I used to love radio dramas. I don't know why that just escaped my brain like that. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Do I have my phone here? No. This sucks. I can't find what I'm looking for.
Bye, Wendy.
Bye, Wendy. Thanks for coming. Let me see if I can sign in without having to bother the man. I can. Score. Okay. I was surprised because I bought an audiobook and I didn't know it was like kind of done in the TV drama style. But it was. Okay, so Impact winner by Travis Beckham, if I'm saying that name right. And it wasn't like super amazing. Like I didn't go raving about it, but I did actually finish it. So that's kind of where I sit on it. But it's really interesting about how they kind of paint what's going on, because like it's not an audiobook, right? Like they're not going to have narration where they explain it to you. It's basically the cast talking to each other, and then you're filling in what's happening with the scene by like, their verbals and things like that. So I thought that would and I was listening to it and I was like, man, this would be such a fun thing to try and write. Like it would be a fun writing exercise. And then I saw I had deadlines and I was like, maybe not today. But okay, so the differences are technical, meaning they're small, but they matter. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, my understanding is very surface level. I'm not as well versed in that as I could be in typical literature. I wish I was, because then I'd have more to say about it. But there's a book. It's right there. Haha! I have a book for this discussion too.
What are we talking about? Yes, I have a book for that.
What did you say? What?
I'm just making fun of you. It's fine.
Oh, okay. You can make fun of me. It's okay. I'm okay with this. But it's from William Inkers, if I'm saying it right. It's called Your Screenplay Sucks. So it does talk about the technical part of the actual writing, but it also does, the save the cat thing where it's like, this is story structure and blah, 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 right? It does a little bit of that. So if you don't want to get save the cat and you want to learn how to do screen writes and stuff like that, you could get this book as well. Not endorsed. I don't get anything if you buy this and said Kara sent you. I'm just telling you it's a good resource. So I wish they would.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
T. Taylor would be making some money off me after I bullied y'all into reading that book. There's that one. And then I guess it depends on, like, there's the in-house style as well. Like Marvel and DC have very different ways that they want their scripts to be written. I also think that they write them over lunch with some of the way that the plot goes, but that's just a me thing. So, but did we have any more editing discussions that we wanted to try and have, or did we want to squeeze in a fourth sprint?
I think we should do a fourth sprint.
Fourth sprint. Okay, cool. I like how you think. You think productively. It is nice. All right, so that's fine because I think I'm gonna outline 2 more scenes and then I'm not gonna outline for the rest of the day. So
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna post. I have to find a picture, then I can post this one. And I'm writing a nonfiction story that's like, is what I write porn? And I'm gonna answer that question. It'll be fun.
All I heard in my brain was porn.
Porn.
Yeah.
Porn.
Porn. We'll be writing porn here, y'all. All right. So anyway, on that note, I'm gonna start this timer in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was time. Feel free to share what you did and how you did and all that good stuff. I outlined another scene and then my brain said no. So I stopped.
I submitted the story to the publication of Medium, and I started finishing this other post.
Well done. Good job on that.
Yeah.
Finishing shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Finishing shits.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this Hold My Latte 2022 thing is actually working out for me. Or at least compared to last year, because last year I think I kind of quickly vomited out like a novella and a short story, and I was like, that's it for me. But this year, I was telling Tamara before we started, I've finished 10 drafts, and that sounds impressive, but some of those are short stories and like 2 are scripts and some are books. So slowly finishing stuff.
I wonder how many Medium posts have. I mean, continue talking to anyone else, but I want to see how many Medium posts I've written this year.
Yeah, I've written you know what I haven't been including though are all of the blog posts that I've done. I haven't really been numbering them, but those come out weekly, and those are anywhere between like 1,000 to 2,000 words each. So that's been a thing that I do on a weekly basis, mostly because I don't want to make how-to videos on YouTube. So
yeah, I haven't written that many because I was very ill for most of the year, but I've written 12.
Oh, 12's good though. We like that number.
Well, by the end of the year, that'll be quadruple the number.
Oh, I like this one comment right here. We should talk about it. Let's see. Jeannie says that they ironed out the story bump. Very nice. I did that too in the outline, but outlining it and then actually writing it will probably be a different thing because that happens to me sometimes. Anthena says, decided to print out my story and maybe that will motivate me to get it done. For now, it is boxing on the Switch. Oh, boxing. Yeah. I really like the FitXR on the Oculus. I really like that. Or I did until my left-hand remote stopped working, and so I was just having like that first world problem with Mr. Brown being like, I can't use my Oculus. Like, it's so hard to be me.
But I mean, still, it's valid. It's a thing you like.
Yeah. Can't do my Beat Saber. Can't do my virtual boxing. My life is over. Yeah, my husband makes fun of me because the only games I want to play are rhythm games. And one MMO, and then I have like a whole bunch of games I keep buying. I'm like, I'm going to play these. Because, like, you know how like some people buy books with the intention of reading them? That's me, but with video games, right? Like, my list of games that I have purchased and not played just continues to grow. But I'm like a fucking magpie because I'm like, I have all my shinies. They're right here together. I don't need to play them. They're safe. They're safe here.
Well, and if you do the, what is the PlayStation, whatever the hell it's called, where you get to download like X amount of free games a month.
Yeah, my one of my gaming friends does that, and she likes it because she lets her like explore and play with different things.
Yeah, like we built up a ridiculous number of games just because they're free. Hey, you never know when you play them.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so we're hit the 2-hour mark, and the general rule for this is 2 hours. Not because I don't want to be with you guys longer, but because I'm on the free version of StreamYard, and I only get 10 hours a month. So, let's go ahead and do our goodbyes and wrap up and talk about anything that might be coming up, and I think that's it. I'll let you go first, because you're my co-host.
Okay, my name's Tamara Woods, and I'm a cozy mystery author, and I was spicy things on the side, and today I was working on the spicy things. I finished my Medium post, and let's see. At the end of the month, we will be doing Writer's Workshop at 2 p.m. over on my channel, where we will be discussing, what's the name of that book?
7 Figure Fiction, How to Add Butter to Your Story by T. Taylor.
She knows that because that was her strong recommendation. So you should pick up a copy and we can talk about it together. Also, I stream on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you should stop on by and say hi.
Those are more fun because I spend 2 hours trolling her the entire time.
Bah.
With love.
With love.
With love, yes. So anyway, so my name, if you didn't know, is Carol Brown. I also write under the name of Faye Black. If you're curious to know if I know anything about all this writing advice that I gave with Tamara over the last 2 hours, I do have books down below, along with a link to Tamara's channel in there somewhere. If not, I feel bad, and I'm going to fix that next time. But you can check it out and see if I know what I'm talking about. I think you can like get free previews on that, and you can like shun me for being a hypocrite. I'm totally fine with that. I will stream again next week. And we will talk about how to actually finish projects, because that was the thing I should have talked about, but I was too excited to just pick a topic and move on. And I think today also is going to start the AuthorTube Writing Conference. I just want to verify. Yeah, so it's today, probably about now. Actually, it's already started. So if you guys want to go and do that, that is happening. I believe that is on SD Hudson's channel, or it's starting there, and then it's going somewhere else after that. I was not involved, and I've only got like a surface idea of what's going on there. So you guys should check it out. It's happening from today all the way until Sunday, and they had some good panel selections on there as well. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting something.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, that's fine. All right, well, that was us. Thanks for coming. Thank you for being here with us, and I hope you all have a good day.